Jake, what just happened?
What just happened?
So why did we go to JB Hi-Fi? No, where did we go?
We intended to go to JB Hi-Fi and we went to the Good Guys.
Yeah. So why did we go there?
To buy a universal remote control.
Okay. So what happened when we got there? We bought the stuff?
And we met with with a sales rep, and some sort of connection happened.
And so I went up to the guy and I said to him, hey, look, I've got this young fella here, Jake. He's 20 years of age. What piece of advice can you give Jake? And what do you say?
Don't offer what you can't provide.
Okay, and so in English, in your terms, what do you think that means?
Don't tell people I can do things if I can't do them.
But then something really special happened after that. Like, kind of like he said that, and then he turned to you and he gave you some feedback. What did he say?
He said that I've got the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm talking about. And he could just tell that I was the kind of guy in IT. And he could tell I'd do well.
And how'd that make you feel?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
So you'd have to say that feels kind of special, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does feel special. Like, considering we walked in there and out of nowhere, this guy that I'd never met before, just apparently he could know somehow.
And so on his, I noticed on his logo on his shirt or something, he had the word create. Yeah. And do you remember what C stood for?
No, I don't.
No, that's all right, because I think...
R was relationships.
Yeah, R was relationships, and that's what we've got to remember. Number 2 is make contact. Make contact, Jake. And number one was make contact. Number 2 was create the relationship.
Create the relationship,
yeah. Yeah, create contact, create the relationship. And so then I asked him the magic question. What did I ask him?
I can't remember. What did you ask him? I'll know the answer.
Oh, I know you'll know the answer. About profit.
Oh, that's right. First comes relationship, and then all the profit will come after.
And who said that? He did.
Yeah, he did. Yes.
Yeah. You look excited. Are you kind of excited? Like, look at the smile on your face, mate. Like, seriously, I haven't seen you smile like that for a really long time. Why are you so happy?
I don't know. Just that was nice. Well, unexpected, but yeah, it's motivational.
Because somebody told you something that was true.
I just needed to hear it.
And you needed to hear it. Hey, I think how we'll start is just tell you what we're going to try and achieve today. What I'd also like to do is that I'll see if Paris is in today, and we'll head out to Paris's gym. I'll introduce him to you, and if Paris has got 5 minutes, I'll have a quick chat to him and say to him, I want you to imagine that Jake is your supplier. And if you have an idea of what you would like in this gym technology-wise, what would it be? Jake will listen to it. And then you'll come up with a plan for Paris. And then you'll scope it out. And then you'll cost it out. And you'll put the whole plan together and you'll put the proposal together for me. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Because that's the stuff you want to do.
That's primarily, yeah.
That's primarily the stuff. Before I start, I just want to say, mate, you have been just amazing in this last day. You know, you're coming up on the Gold Coast. Today's another
beautiful
spectacular day. Yeah, where we should be out the beach, you know, just catching some waves and getting some rays done. And I've kept you in here. And when I look around what you've done, there's a hell of a lot of stuff. All right, so let's kick off. What I've got, I loved yesterday when we were speaking to Simon. You remember who Simon was?
Mm-hmm.
Who's Simon?
The guy, what's his name? Good Guys.
Good Guys, yeah. And he had on his little badge there, the word...
A values card.
Yeah, the values card, the word create. Now, do you have something like that? Like an acronym? I know mine's Pausch, P-A-U-S-C-H. P for persistence, A for achievement, U for understanding, S for success, C for challenging, and H for health. So they're my values. I'll never forget them because they're mine. And I link it because it's my name, Pausch. So I'd like you to think of, Good Guys has got create. I'd like you to think of one, and then we can use an acronym. So whenever anyone asks you and says, well, mate, what does your business stand for?
Mm-hmm.
So have a think about what word we can come up with that is synonymous with Jake profile. So we did a DISC profile. The 4 areas that DISC relates into is the DISC, D being dominance and direct, I being influential and inspiring, S being stabilizing and steady, and C being conscientious and commitment. So they're the DISC, and I'll get you a copy of that, and you've probably even seen that on there. Did you bring that piece of paper? You better go and grab it. All right. And this is, so flick over the page on that one there. And what's that one? What's that one say? That first one?
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. So just read this one out here, your tendencies, just so it's really clear.
The goal is as a problem solver, judges others by their use of data, influence others by their facts and figures, value to the organisations, independently accepts analytical challenging assignments, overuses perfectionism, when under stress becomes blunt and fears people contact, high risk and lack of privacy.
So when you read something like that, like when you see the goal,
just about sums it up.
It sums it up. You are a problem solver, aren't you?
Mm.
That's good for your job. What you do is perfect for your job. And I would say 100%. So I want you to write up on the back there, you see Jake Berry, driven to success, organised, fast learner. I want you to write up there, I'm a problem solver. That's a really good strength of yours. So on the window now.
Window?
Yeah.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
How did I know it was green?
I don't know. Favourite colour?
It is actually.
All right, let's have a look at the what the next one says. So judges. No, on the just on this sheet still. Judges what?
Oh, their use of data.
So what do you think that means?
The way they use the resources they have.
Yeah, and that's what you might be good at. So you'll be judging other people and looking around and looking at their facility or looking at their, the way that they do work, and you would say, you know what, if you could do this, you would be much better at achieving that. So that's
I do that. Yeah,
and that's what I love that about you, because that's part of your job. You know, we couldn't have made this any easier for you. So when you do a profile like this, it really highlights who Jake Berry is. So what's the next one say?
Influences others by facts and figures.
Right.
Which is, I like everything on paper, and I like to show, the hard facts about things. So that's right.
Good. So I like that. It's about facts. You need all these facts here. Everything that we're getting here for you are all your facts. Everything. And you're going to be spending time listening to all the words that I might be saying. And as you go through each one of these videos, you'll have your journal and you'll be writing some stuff down. Gerald had said this. This is what we had agreed to. This is what's happening. I'm not 100% sure about the confident and happy about the word figures in there. You know that's your facts and figures driven. Facts is excellent. Figures is something we're going to have to change, and that's why your I is so low. Is it because you don't consider people as the relationship that you would like to have? You see people as a dollar value. And we're going to change that, Jake.
Good.
Do you agree? We have to change it. Every person you will see as a
relationship,
building rapport with each one of those people, and you're not going to see them as dollars anymore. Because your conversation is always around, I could have had this job here and it would have been worth $2,000 to me. I could have had that job and that contract there and that would have been worth $5,000 for me. It doesn't work anymore, mate. You don't hear Richard Branson speak like that. You don't hear Microsoft Kings speak like that. What they do is that they speak and they say, I'm giving away $2 billion. Now that's what we want to hear. That's where the difference will be. What's the next one on the list down there?
Value to the organisation. Independently accepts analytical, challenging assignments.
Yeah, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And your organisation is J&B. You love that. I give you a challenge, bang, you're on.
That's right. Take it away and come up with a solution.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, what else?
Overuses perfectionism.
Is that pretty much on the money?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And what happens if you do too much perfectionism?
Things just become unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah, like have a look at your house. Right? That's a good example. You want to be perfect in everything that you do. So you've got 6 Apple TVs, you've got 3 TVs, you've got a really good setup. The perfectionism in you means I want it done and I want it done right, and let's not take any shortcuts. Like even when you say here, you've got to have the subwoofer, mate. I love that. But then you miss out on the other details, which is the visionary stuff.
Like the remote control and...
That's it, that sort of stuff. So you see what Jake sees here, but the client wants more. The client wants a hell of a lot different, and we'll talk a little bit about how we do that. All right, what else is on the thing?
When under stress becomes blunt.
Agree or disagree?
I don't fully understand how it means become blunt.
Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
What you might do, and look, I've experienced it a couple of times, and I might have to just pull you up on that when it happens, to say that's where the bluntness comes out. I think when you're under stress, you don't have time to communicate, so you just have time to tell it as it is. But you haven't been overly stressed in the last 2 days here.
No.
So I can't really see that, but I have seen the Jake very blunt on Facebook when you say things like, Gerald, I'm not an employee, I'm a businessman. That's the bluntness. So you get that? Rather than, I never thought of that, Gerald, you could have a good point there. My focus really though is that I don't want to work as an employee. I really want to focus on
so I just put it the way it is.
And you put it the way it is. So even that comment there, I'm not an employee, I'm not cut out for this sort of stuff. That's the bluntness. And the other part of the bluntness is, I'm a businessman. Really? Really?
I want to be.
Well then you write that. I want to be a businessman. There's a huge difference. Because if you were to say to somebody, I'm a businessman, it doesn't work. Like even that, I think that day on the LinkedIn, I didn't write anything, but you wrote that you're an entrepreneur and you're a visionary. What is that, Jake? What's an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I know.
Well, what is it?
Someone who makes money.
Is it?
Oh, a successful person that can build lots of businesses and make money. And
now, I think you might need to do some research and find out what an entrepreneur is. So
it's all part of these words that I would use just to look better than what I am.
Correct.
Let's just put it that way.
And what's a visionary?
Someone who can provide a vision to build a company.
Now tell me what would happen is you've got someone like, again, we'll use the Richard Bransons and we'll use the Steve Jobs, rest in peace, but we use them as examples. Now they meet Jake Berry at a bar somewhere and they go, Jake, I jumped into your LinkedIn profile and I saw that you're an entrepreneur and visionary.
Yep, I get the idea, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and the reason I'm saying it, and I'm saying it more, and I want to get it into your head, mate, because I think, again, that was your bluntness there. Like, mate, move on. And no, we can't move on with this one here, because no one's ever taught you that shit doesn't work. I'm waiting for you to call yourself the futurist, because that's another one of those buzzwords that people use. In fact, people who call themselves any of these things, you know, an entrepreneur, visionary, a futurist, they aren't. You have to wait for other people to say, Jake in his field is a real entrepreneur. You let them tell you what you are. You can't give yourself the self-assessment. Do you get that? Mm. And this video, you'll watch on the train 10, 15 times. And listen to yourself how you just went, yeah, move on, mate. I got the message. I know what I'm trying to do. But I want this message to come in. And I want you to think every time now that you start to write something on your post, when it's personal, it's with friends and it's mates, I'm just enjoying a good time, write your heart out. But I also want you to think that Gerald's sitting on your shoulder here, and when you write it down, just go, I wonder what these two guys would think when I write that. I wonder what they're thinking now that they've just jumped on the Facebook, and you're not deleting me, by the way, or setting up a new profile.
I wouldn't delete you. No. I'm not that fussed about Facebook to set up a new profile.
But that's what I mean, though. I want you to think about what you write. And if you have got a profile on LinkedIn, we're going to work on that thing because that is your business.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would like to fix that up.
Yeah.
Fears are of people contact, high risks and lack of privacy.
Right. So people contact, agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you said that yesterday. It's one of the things you want to work on, which is your people skills. Mm. High risk?
Yeah, because I'm worried about losing the job and you know, and all the changes and
so it's true, isn't it? It's like they wrote this for you.
Yeah.
And what's the last one?
Lack of privacy. I'm not so sure in what aspect of privacy, but
well, you will be now.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll be thinking more about it now.
Yeah.
Okay, and
that's it. That is all.
Now let's go over to key strengths. And let's read each one and see if you agree, disagree.
Ability to fight hard for results and or procedures to ensure quality of correctness.
Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, in the job. Because you do that quite well.
Yeah.
You know, I see you here sometimes and you're thinking, that didn't work. You talk to yourself and you just want to, I don't know, go, what's wrong, Jake? And you go, no, sorry, I'm just talking to myself. So that is you. What a great strength that is. Do you agree? That's a good strength, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Ability to ask the right questions to uncover hidden facts.
I'd like you to work more on that. This is, as a client, is that you need to start asking some really good questions about scoping out the project. So when we go to Paris this afternoon, if he's in, if we go to Paris's and he's given you the bit of a scope, and if you don't ask a question, then you don't come back here and write out the proposal, because you'll be sitting there going, I wonder if he wants one of these systems. I wonder how much money he's got to spend. I wonder. There's no more wonders. It's that the facts are the facts.
So what I wonder is, do I ask people a budget then?
Of course.
So ask them what kind of budget they're looking at.
Yeah. So and a person will turn around and I'll turn to you and say, well, what can you do?
Yeah.
And you'll say, let me give you an example. I just finished a $30,000 fit of a home theatre system. But I also set up a $2,500 system with this. So, for example, my system here was around probably $1,000. Okay? And we got the complete system. Apart from the speakers up the top there, all right, the speakers. So that would be an extra, how much? Those
about 120 each.
So you another $3. So about $1,200. Just in, so then you can say, well, look, I just did a small family. It's a house about the same size as this room in here, mate. We had this. The guy already had a TV. The guy already had, DVD. So we just hooked up with this, and this. It was about $1,200 in parts, and it took me about 4 hours to do. And I'm $120 an hour for the first hour and $60 every hour after that. So do your sums on that. And he goes, figures. And he goes, oh, okay. Geez, I thought it'd be around $8,000. And you go, well, mate, if you have $8,000 in the budget, I can set this up to the schmickest thing. And we don't need to look at the most expensive stereo system or projector system. I want to make it worth your while. So yes, you do ask, but you've got to be prepared for the person to say, well, what can you do? And that's where your examples come in. I can do a $30,000, and that's where you then say, see this house here? This house here? Mate, we just finished this house. You can see it's got this, it's intercom, it's done, it's got the push button, it's got remote, the guy speaks, and the movie comes on. So that's all integrated, $150,000, but that's top of the range. Now you've got Mr. and Mrs. Joe Bloggs here, just a little family house, probably similar to yours. Yeah, we did that for plus my fees, about $3,500. Oh, okay, so for $3,500, mate, I can get everything I want. Yep. So that's getting all the facts. So you can ask. Otherwise, what do you do? So you walk away, got the scope, you sit down, you cost it all out, you give it to the guy and he says, shit, $5,000. And you go, well, how much did you want to spend? Now you ask him afterwards. And he goes, I only wanted to spend 4 tops. And you go, oh, we can do that. And he's thinking, why didn't you do that then for me? Why didn't you do it then? Why don't you make it $5,000? And now you tell me you can make it 4. So now you're going to think, maybe I have to ask them, top range. And they'll say...
So always ask what the budget is then.
Yeah, mate, have you got a budget in mind? And he says, no, not really, I don't have a budget. But be careful of that, no, I don't have a budget. That means I've got no money, or mate, I've got all the money in the world. So which one do you pick? So you've got to feed them information. You say, so if you're happy with, so is $5,000 unreasonable? No, mate, $5,000's good. If you can do it for $5,000, cool. Or you might start, is $15,000 unreasonable? Yeah, mate, yeah. Mate, it's like a little house. Okay. Then I'm thinking around 5,000. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah, mate, that's more to what I'm looking for. Well, you'll be surprised. Some of the bigger organisations, they say, mate, I don't actually give a shit how much it's going to cost. I just want the best, and I want the backup service, and I want the sales afterwards, and I want I want to be able to contact you. But mate, you put a system in there and it breaks down, I'm calling you up and you fix it. I'm not paying you. And you go, yeah, okay, I can do that. So you see the difference? Some people want the best. Some people want the cheapest. Some people just want the service. For me, I don't care what I spend. I just want to make sure that, say something breaks down here, I can call you up and go, Jake, I need you to help me fix this. And you go, well, mate, I'm in Sydney. Well, that wasn't discussed, buddy. That wasn't discussed. You did everything on your laptop there. You didn't tell me. You didn't give me any paperwork. You didn't give me a, what happens or a troubleshoot. You told me to hit the question mark button on there, and that doesn't work. Mate, we just had a blackout. It's shut everything down. What do I do now? And you go, oh, look, I'm up again in 3 months. Mate, no, I've got clients coming around tomorrow. I need it fixed. What do you do now?
Come up.
Well, not for us, but you're thinking about that's what clients are going to say.
Yeah, I know.
So that, and you have to think about the client, and that's what happens. And so that's where your technology comes in, mate. Do you have FaceTime on your laptop? Do you have your iPhone? Mate, go into your system. Let's have a look. Skype it through. Let's do it together. So while we're Skyping it through, hold your phone there. Now you see that button there, mate. I want you to turn that button. Yeah, that's it. So you're doing it as if you're here. You need to use your technology. I'm doing it. I'm doing it with my guys. And we're not in the tech business. You are. So you need to think how you can do things remotely. So that's where maybe this part here, you're going to have to work really hard on how you do this. And that's where you just come to me and you say, Gerald, how do I do this? And I'll give you as much information as I can. I'll do it for you. What else you got on the list? Another strength.
Avoids favouritism when evaluating personnel.
Okay, well you haven't got personnel. So, when you do have 15 staff, maybe that's evident. You won't have favouritism. What else you got?
Will combine analytical and intuitive skills when dealing with complex issues.
Okay. You are analytical. What's next?
That's it. Then we've got to improve effectiveness by being less analytical and trying to achieve correctness.
What does that mean?
Being less analytical in trying to achieve correctness. How do you see that?
Well, I know how I see it. I want to ask you.
Look at other avenues then, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Look at other ways of doing things when trying to get things done. So instead of the one way.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Be a little bit more creative. You see, you are very creative. Your analytical skills means I've got to do it this way. This is how it's got to happen. But if all of a sudden now the analytical skill says, well, we need a you know, we need an amplifier in there. Now up here we need an amplifier for out there. Then you start to become a little bit more creative, where you said, you know what you can do? You can have just another cheap little amplifier here. You can link it so the music comes through. That's what you need to be doing. So you need to look at other ways to do things to be able to achieve the result that the client wants. Okay, what else you got?
Not hiding emotion and expressing more thoughts to others.
Yeah. I think that's something that we're going to really have to work on. Yeah, that's the communication skill.
And the last one, sharing information and team cooperation.
You know, I think sharing information is a good one. You know, if you go onto YouTube and you type in the word how-to, how many hits would you get?
Millions.
Millions. Just how-to. How-to Dropbox. How-to change a file into a flash video. How-to. Millions of them. How many have you got up?
0.
Right. So you don't have to have your videos up. But imagine if you now, with your clients, existing and the new ones that are coming up, with every email that you sent out to every client, down the bottom, oh, by the way, did you know if you hit Control, Shift, and the greater than key while selecting a text, it will increase the font size? Bang. 80% will go, yeah, you know. The other 20% will go, oh man, how cool is that?